During the past 2 years, we have been warning our congressional representatives about the serious threat Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau is becoming to the cause of freedom and liberty in Canada, as well as to the national security of the United States of America, as a result of enacting laws that mirror the policies of the Chinese Communist Party. For example, Trudeau had a law passed by his parliament that is tantamount to censoring all broadcasting flowing in and out of Canada. Now, this, in my view, is the construction of a 21st century Berlin Wall, not made of brick, not made of mortar, but made of electronic barriers. He is also supporting Marxist ideologies to be taught to young children in schools all across Canada. Now, look, one might say, well, you've had that problem in the United States of America. Yes, we have, and we took care of it, and we're continuing to take care of it by tossing out school board members and by putting an end to the political careers of those who support this Marxist ideology. Now, one might also say, well, isn't that the problem of the Canadian people to address? Well, I'll tell you something. They are addressing it, and they're doing it gallantly. They're doing it with great strength, and they're doing it within the framework of the law, and to a great degree, they are winning. But Trudeau took things out of his country and placed them at the doorstep of millions of Americans when he blamed what he defines as the American right wing for the opposition he is receiving by Canadian citizens to his very own policies. The term American right wing is the same term used by the Biden administration, the Department of Justice, and the FBI when targeting conservatives, Republicans, parents attending school board meetings, and patriotic Americans fighting to preserve their freedoms, their liberties, and their individual rights. Additionally, his statement comes at a time when we in America are approaching a very critical presidential election, as well as congressional and state elections. Now, if that's not election interference by a foreign government, then what is? Presently, The Hague is reviewing thousands of pages of evidence regarding the actions of Trudeau. And this past week, the EU Parliament heard testimony from a Canadian citizen victimized by government-sanctioned abuse and excessive force by the Canadian police. And the Ohio State Legislature here in the United States has already recommended that the Canadian government be placed on a religious watch list. In view of the fact that Trudeau has recklessly and without any justification attacked millions of Americans, the United States Congress cannot afford to sit idly by and allow a communist influencer like Trudeau to spread his propaganda without being held accountable. It's time for the United States Congress to address Trudeau and investigate exactly what is going on in Canada as it relates to United States national security. It's time for Congress to invoke the Truman and Reagan doctrine that commits the United States of America to fight and prevent the spread of communism everywhere on this planet, including Canada. I urge every American media outlet to follow events unfolding in Canada and every American patriot to contact their congressional representatives and urge them to address this matter sooner rather than later. Now let us keep our nations in prayer and remember that scripture in 2 Corinthians 3:17, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is freedom. Well, that says to me that it's very important that we not only take the action we're taking politically, but we take that action in prayer, especially at this critical time in the history of our countries. Thank you. I'm Lieutenant Stephen Rogers.